Hello, this is Linda Vettrus-Nichols, and do I have an amazing person to introduce you to? Robert Pardi. And you go by Rob a lot too, don't you, Robert?
Yes, I do. I actually I prefer Rob, but way back when in finance, my first finance job, I had a really tyrant boss that wouldn't allow me to call myself Rob on the phone because it sounded like I was stealing people's money.
Oh, please. Quite an associative thinker there.
So I became Robert professionally, but yes, I go by Rob a lot.
All right, Rob Party. You have a very interesting story of transformation. And so, just share a little bit about, where you're at right now and what's coming in for you. It's been quite the adventure that you've been having.
It certainly has, and I have to tell you, it is just continuing to evolve. So the short version of the story is I was married to an amazing woman, super amazing, amazing woman,
Right?
um, and unfortunately, right before her 31st birthday, she was diagnosed with late stage breast cancer. And
Wow.
actually, we were at the height of our everything. I was given a job in the United Arab Emirates, which was unheard of for someone my age. She
Yeah.
was in the MD PhD program. And so that threw us a curveball. And for the next 11 years, she journeyed with metastatic breast cancer.
Wow.
But interestingly enough, I wasn't, the title I had was her caregiver, but she was really autonomous. So I wasn't her caregiver. When I look back, I was her coach. When I left
Oh,
work to take care of her, it
yeah.
was to help her achieve her goals. It
Wow.
wasn't that I had to help her change her clothes or something like that. She was very independent. And so after she passed away and I looked at my life, I went back to finance. I was back in Dubai. I looked around at everything and my perspective, my purpose, my passion, everything changed. The perspective just completely changed. And
Wow.
I wasn't comfortable. And
Mhm.
so I thought about what would be an amazing story to look back on from the loss itself and the
Right?
gifts that she gave me and the tools that I learned. And that was to move to Italy. So I'm speaking to you from Italy. And
Nice.
the other thing was realizing I had been her coach. That's actually what I missed about the Robert that died with her.
Right.
And that's one of the things we always have to confront, right? Is our
Yeah.
identity impacted?
Yeah.
So I went to school to become a life coach, and then it just sort of all evolved. And I finally got into a point which was always a dream of mine, which was to host personal growth retreats in Italy. And
Wow.
it just, I tell you, the moment everyone arrived for the retreat, I knew that's exactly where I was meant to go throughout this whole thing. It was just that was the
Nice.
destination. And I was so blown away by it and for many different reasons. Energetically, spiritually, it was just, it all aligned. And so that's where I am right now.
That is so cool. And you guys were like hiking on the retreats and now it's kind of coming in where it's going to be more experiential, which you've already done one and absolutely loved it and got some really great feedback from doing it that way. Is that right?
That's 100% right. This
Cool.
retreat was the it was always in my head, but it was the organization of it. And during COVID, I really was able to sit down and think about what it would look like. So
Nice.
we talk about life situations, life tools,
Mhm.
and then we actually visit a place that represents that.
Wow.
And so it continues the discussion, but it also is this experience of being in a completely new environment. Like we go to a castle where supposedly the Holy Grail was housed.
Nice.
The day that we talk about what is your Holy Grail, what is your North Star,
Yeah.
how are you protecting it? Here's a castle, right? So, um, and I have to say the feedback was fantastic. The referrals that are coming in are wonderful. Uh,
Nice.
I'm so I really truly feel blessed, and I'm so grateful.
That is so cool. And I love how you're setting up something that's in alignment with yourself, and also you're sorting through the people that you're finding, the ones that are aligned, and it would be like a perfect opportunity for them. So, I'm like, what? You got like 50 people, you know, registering for whatever the words are, asking about it. And then you interview, and it came down to 9, right? And
Yeah.
that's just the right number, and in alignment for you and for them. Is that how it's working right now?
That 100%. I mean, the idea was 8, but one person really wanted to come.
Uh,
I'm also the number 9 has played a role in my life forever. A
yeah,
9 is just the thing. And I
yeah,
think if I add up my date of birth, it comes to
you're
the
a
number.
9.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that's really interesting
um,
too.
but the thing with the interviewing is my long-term goal out of this is I really want to build a community because
Yeah.
I know what I lived. I know it's possible,
Hmm.
and I'm an example of it. But I would love to have a community where there are other people that send out that ripple effect of
Yes,
crafting life, right? Living intentionally.
absolutely. I love it. And the whole journey you've been on is stepping into the knowing, right? And your knowing. And so tell us just a little bit about that.
Sure. So I knowing, I guess, knowing came out of it came from my heart, but
Hmm.
it's more if you think about the difference between learning and understanding. And understanding and knowing, I think are synonyms, right?
Hmm.
So if you learn something, you can forget it. When you know something, when it is internalized, when
Yeah,
it's an experience, you can't unknow, you can't ununderstand.
right?
It is part of you. So the stepping into the knowing for me has really just been this whole idea of when I look back on my life, I've always been intentional. What I didn't say at the beginning is I grew up with an abusive alcoholic father, and somehow deep inside me, whether it was internal wisdom, whether it was my amazing grandmother,
Yeah,
which was his mom, by the way. Um, I learned to use my father as an example of what I didn't want to be, what I
right,
didn't want to become. I started to learn about grit and resilience. I didn't have the words for it at all,
right.
but there was always this intentionality of that, if I put things in motion, if I'm intentional, if I
Yeah,
take action, if I follow my belief system, I can then get to know me, and I can align myself and the world.
right.
And I've seen it,
Yeah.
which is incredible. Through everything that I've ever experienced, I look back on it now, and it wasn't that it was consciously planned, but
Hmm.
I knew, and we talked about this word yesterday about being a manifester. I knew that wielding action is like magic.
Right.
I'm a big believer, and I'm like a kid when it comes to magic and imagination.
Yeah. Well, you're a
It's like,
manifesting generator, so that's like double trouble.
no,
I love that
I'm
part. We
I'm a
both
total
are.
kid. I'm a total kid, but there has been that. So the knowing, and what I hope when I speak with people, they get to work with me or at the retreat or just my example,
Yeah.
the knowing is knowing our personal power.
Amen. And pass the biscuits.
And you can't unknow it once you have tasted it, you
Yeah.
know, that's it.
Yeah. You betcha.